Hey everyone, it's Mike Merker here with the Impossible Puzzles Show. Rishi, you're back on. You're a busy guy. We can waste some of your time. What's going on? Tell us what's up. Hello.
Thank you, Mike, for having me. Yeah, really excited to be back here. And yeah, I thought we'll speak on some other topics today, mainly related to AI and how I'm seeing firsthand the impact of AI in business.
Do tell. Begin. Teach us, a wise one. I don't know what you're talking about.
Um, so, as you know, Mike, like AI is now almost everywhere, and businesses are trying to figure out how to use AI in their workflows to be more efficient and how to do it properly so that it gives consistent results. Now, speaking with some of my clients and the things that we have been doing with them, I thought I'll share some of my learnings on what were the use cases that people were exploring AI to supercharge their work and how we were supposed to help them and increase the output of their teams. Um, so yeah, that's why I'm here, and I'll focus some of the conversation on that.
Yeah. And what tools are you the biggest fan of right now?
I'm a big fan of Anthropic's Claude. So Claude is definitely my go-to, let's say, AI tool for most of the things, just because I'm also creating AI agents which are custom for my clients. And Claude does a very good job in terms of coding and helping me build those agents. So Claude is my go-to for sure.
And are you using, so you're an Anthropic guy and you like Opus? How many hours a day or week would you say you're clodding?
I think I'm Clauding continuously. I have the highest plan from Claude, and I and my team are all using it almost 9, 10, 11 hours a day just because we are building stuff, right? So I'm not using it to, let's say, spit out text, but I'm using it to actually build the apps, my platform, enhance its features, and also incorporate anything that the client wants to do a quick turnaround in terms of building that feature and launching it live.
Could you give some specific examples of features you're building right now?
Yeah, so let me take a step back. So I started off last year a company called AdStep Labs and another sister company called Eva CRK Labs. Both of them kind of function slightly differently, but what we offer as our core competency is that we come into our business, we try and figure out what you do today, and then map out workflows that are extremely repetitive that you have to do every day, follow a set of rules or steps, and then give a mundane or a predictable output. And kind of recognizing those repeated workflows and tasks, we create custom AI agents, which lets you do the same task, which, let's say, anecdotally, one of my clients spent 2, 3 hours just planning on a task by researching on various aspects of collecting data for a prospective list of customers that they were going to target that day, can be done in minutes. And we map out exactly what you do, figure out the right sources, how can AI speed up that source scraping, figure out what's the ranking of the right, prospective client that you want to reach out to, and then create custom reach out scripts, emails, or whatever else that is needed, and then create a tracking dashboard. So those are the kind of, augmentations that we are now doing with AI agents, where human had to kind of do a lot of manual steps to do something before even, let's say, starting work or even while doing.
Fascinating. And your team, could you share? the size of your team, what roles they serve. It's so interesting.
So currently we are a two-member team. So I and my lead developer, and we have a bunch of interns. So we have business interns as well as technical interns, and that size of our intern team is around six or seven, where each one has a different role. So we have a business intern, which helps us with go-to-market strategies. We have technical interns, which are adding new features or building as per client requirements, and then I have interns which are upgrading our current offer into an even better framework and agentic workflow so that it's easier, simpler, faster, better output. So different roles for different people.
Interns. You like interns. You like to teach others. Are you crazy? Isn't that difficult? How do you do it?
I think obviously when you're starting something, you have to stretch yourself, take on more roles. And I feel like the interns that we are getting today are students who are extremely fast learning. They are very comfortable using AI. They're very comfortable use and figuring things out in uncertainty and building stuff. So even though, let's say, you might carry the impression that interns don't, do meaningful work, I give them full code access that I have. They build features, obviously with guidance, and then once they get in the rhythm of things, they can, be much as productive as a full-time employee.
Interesting. Interesting. How many meetings do you have in the with your interns each week?
So I have daily meetings, frankly, Mike, especially with technical interns, just because we keep moving really fast. So we build a plan, approve it, execute it, test it, and perhaps multiple times a day we build new features. So it's very fast paced. It's not the software development or the technical work that used to happen, let's say a few years ago, where you would take a plan and take a week just to review a plan and then slowly roll that out into phases and then execute each phase, test each phase. Now you can roll out a really big plan and a big feature, test it, be feel comfortable to launch it with clients, and then just get it in front of and in the hands of users like very quickly.
Fascinating, fascinating. And the whole company, the whole structure, it's all remote, or do you sometimes meet in person?
It's all remote. So I am here in Canada, and my lead engineer is in the US and on the East Coast. A lot of my interns are on the West Coast. So I am having meetings throughout the day just because of the timeline differences. And we have most likely twice a day meetings. So one at the beginning of the workday, one if needed in the middle or at the end. So definitely, remote, and we keep in touch as frequently as needed.
And this is all happening. So in AdStep.io, which is building AI agents to automate marketing, you are doing this as fast as mathematically possible, and you're laughing. And
Yes.
right now, Claude, right now, Anthropic tools through Claude Opus, maybe different versions by different, can we say high school students? Is it high school interns age or university student age?
These are all high school students age, and they are in the 10th, 11th, and 10th and 11th grade, mainly, not even 12th.
And they're building the next generation of tools. You're running the business side, the commercial side, and mentoring and guiding them. You're not always in the engine room. You're more doing the marketing, the selling, the business development aspects of the business. You are not necessarily so much, you're not writing code yourself. You're not using Anthropic tools yourself. You're
I am.
you
In
am.
fact, like as a, let's say, now I started off my journey when I had very little coding knowledge, even though I was a computer engineer long ago. I had to relearn, and now I'm writing code every day and building new features. So, in tandem with the interns and lead engineers, we have different features assigned to everyone, and everyone is supposed to build. So, there is no, let's say, like, hey, I have this one defined role. Everyone is kind of crossing the border and going all across from development, testing, client interactions, learnings, and then building whatever needs to be built. So I'm very much a huge Claude user on a daily basis, especially for coding as well.
Fascinating, fascinating. And are there people who ever reach out to you and they're looking for uh, to grow a business, but they don't know how much they can afford? How do you structure your pricing as a business?
So it depends. So basically, we can automate a lot of tasks, right? The way that I have worked with, and mainly in B2B, where my clients are, let's say, in manufacturing, healthcare, AI companies, startups, etc., whatever it is, the way that I structure the pricing is that, hey, if you automate, let's say, a workflow, what is the current value of the workflow today? And then we have automated it. So we are always targeting to automate workflows which generate more revenue rather than just save costs, as that helps accelerate the business in terms of growth. And if we are replacing, let's say, one or two member team and doing their work, which used to take a week in one day or a month in like 2 days or whatever it is, then we structure our pricing accordingly. So there is no fixed pricing, but let's say what we are developing, how big is the workflow, how much work we invest in, and once we automate, we don't just stop there. We constantly keep improving by adding new features or building around that core feature what else needs to be done. So once we start off with automating one set of workflow, then we keep adding whatever needs to be automated even more. So it grows into a bigger automation engine, whatever the starting point may be. An example of this I can say is one of my clients, which wants is a manufacturing business in the Greater Toronto area. They want to enter into the US market. Now, instead of just hiring a sales team, which may or may not get them in front of a, let's say, client as a supplier, as a vendor, they want to list their products on Amazon Business. So Amazon has a business website as well where you can log in as a seller or a buyer for industrial products and then buy in industrial quantities like a pallet or whatever else is needed. And they have a product portfolio of 400 products, but there's no way that their team has the expertise or the know-how to create so many Amazon listings. So
Okay.
So to get the product portfolio onto Amazon, I created AI agents which takes the raw images which are on a white background of their product, converts them into Amazon images with features, with the right ambience. For example, if it's an industrial product, you want to show the workmen using the product, how it would fit in, what it would do, all of that with AI, which let's say if they have to do manually, they might need to shoot it in a way, finish editing the images, create that bank of images, hire a designer, blah, blah. All of that can be now done with AI in minutes. So once your set of A plus content images are ready, AI analyzes your product from the website, scrapes all the information, runs the AI magic, creates the Amazon listing, and then presents it to you in a complete package. And what is the data missing to actually list the product on Amazon? For example, what is the pricing? Because a lot of, let's say, B2B products don't have pricing on the website. It's kind of lives separately. So, what is the listing price that you want to share on Amazon US versus Canada website, and so on and so forth? What is it that you want to talk about as core features and whatever else. And then once the Amazon listing is built out, you can just copy paste that content and images and then get it live within 2 to 3 days, because Amazon has a review period for every new listing. And once it's live, then you are generating business from the traffic on Amazon rather than, taking, let's say, 3 weeks or 1 week to create one listing of a product. So that's the kind of benefit that now AI comes in and speeds up your process of getting in front of a large consumer base by creating these really laborious tasks which take a lot of effort. Maybe you don't even have skills for it, and you need to hire external people, can be done with AI agents. So now AI agents have evolved from being, let's say, a calculator or a typewriter or a simple word generator tool to an actual employee that understands what needs to be done step by step, deliver high quality workload, and then get it into the world.
Yeah, yeah, so interesting. I'm taking all this in, and as you're talking, I'm like, it's something that has to be seen to wrap one's head around. It's complicated.
It
It's
is.
very complicated, but at a simple in simple business practical terms for the busy business people of the world, every dollar given to you and whatever you're doing comes back $2 in revenue. Could we say you're hitting like a, or no, gross? How would you measure the metrics? You know how these business people are, these Jewish investor and business people. Oh, that Rishi, oh, he better, one comes in, three better come out, or we're gonna, oh, he can take a piece of the pie, but we need to see that engine spinning. You know how life is. You lived in India for a long time. You've
Yeah.
seen different. Your brain is open. You've seen too many things.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's the right question to ask, right? Like, hey, if we are investing whatever dollars, then and speeding up the workflow, what is the value coming in? And that value obviously will arrive with the client, right? Like, hey, if your each listing on an average does, let's say, $1,000 a year, I'm just making very conservative numbers. Like for a B2B listing on Amazon business, maybe $1,000 doesn't even buy you a pallet, but like let's say $10,000 a year, then getting listings up and running out of the door quickly, let's say at the half year mark that we are in 6 months, you will earn $5,000 from that listing just being live on an average. And if you build 100 such listings, that's $500,000 of additional business that you did not have yesterday and are missing out as an opportunity cost just because you needed to hire a team, you didn't have the expertise, it was just too slow, and it was, making your team go through a menial task, let's say, where they could have been focusing on other revenue generating tasks. For example, let's say you have a team member who is doing multiple things. Let's say in, most
Yes.
small and medium businesses, they don't do just one task, where you are also tracking client requests for samples, or helping them with shipping, or helping them with client requests on current customers, or even, researching on reaching out to new customers. So all of that is on hold while you're building a listing. So the cost uh, is getting saved for the manpower while we are unlocking growth. So we need to just figure out with the client like what's the right, opportunity cost unlocked along with the cost savings, and that is where the, the proof of the pudding lies.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally.
Just to give you a quick example, because you also mentioned like it's hard to imagine or show and tell. So let me just quickly show you like um,
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
quick
Please
pitch
share.
deck
Yeah,
that we had
definitely
created
share.
for a manufacturing client. And this is basically, a tape manufacturer which um, which makes tapes for industrial usages. So for example, rubber tapes, aluminum tapes, and so on for HVAC systems and so on. So this is the kind of raw image that they have, which is on a white background, just a product. We converted into in situation images which are used for Amazon. So, for example, a hero image, lifestyle image, features that the tape has, how do you apply the tape in work setting, what are the specs, is it for hot environments, cold environments, and then the pack shot as well. And then once you have all of that, then we have algorithms which figure out that what exactly needs to be on the image, what exactly needs to be in the content so that it's high converting. Because you don't want to keep plain images of a product which doesn't say or communicate the benefit, because we are all very visual when we are shopping, right? And then we also
Yes.
create AI generated videos where you show what is happening on the or how to use the tape. And I will just click on this link and then pull my screen to show you the AI video that we. So this is all generated with AI. So it shows that it's waterproof, so even you can use it in other environments. And then create the final listing of Amazon. So here are all the images that we saw, how we have pulled out all the ways in which it needs to be portrayed, and so on and so forth. So yeah, so I'll just stop sharing. So that's kind of the quick, bringing it to life on how AI is now disrupting so much of the workflow on bringing to life your products in a large way in front of consumers quickly.
Yeah. I'm There's so much to know about consumer packaged goods, how they're marketed, how they are presented, the Amazon world which dominates that field today. So much is changing so quickly. I myself and I myself am like, where do you even begin to turn? And you don't sell. You're not an aggressive salesperson who is aggressively pursuing the sale. Why? Why don't you turn this podcast episode, this talk show, if you will, into a pitch aggressive infomercial? You're not like that. That's an American thing. In India, that's not how people sell and present their business services, is it? It's different. It's different. That's
I
a
won't say not in India, but basically, I was a marketer rather than, let's say, a pure play salesperson as I started my career. And as a marketer, I understand that, if you want to win business, you cannot convince by forcing something. The consumer chooses you first emotionally, and not on hard facts, but basically what outcome they are visualizing in their head of using your product or service. And if they themselves get convinced, then they become, your customer or client. If I say that, hey, buy this for X money, it will give you blah, no one will believe it. They have to see it, they have to experience it, they have to figure out, hey, this is what my business really needs, and this is the right solution for me to unlock whatever the goal that they have, right? Like increase my business by $1 million a year or whatever it is. And if this is the right solution for them, then they will automatically, ask the right questions, learn more. And then the beauty of AI is we can customize it in whichever way that they want. So we don't sell, let's say, one size fits all solution. We actually work with the client as a partner, figure out the real pain points, what is their goal, and then achieve it through automation and take it step by step rather than saying that, hey, we have like 10 things here, take all of them and they'll work for you with a, hooks and a promise that it worked for some other clients, so it will definitely work with you.
yeah. This is fascinating. This is fascinating. And the way of running your business as a you're running your business in a Canadian style, or you're running the business in a Indian style, or an Indian Canadian hybrid style.
Um, I I'm running my business. in, I would say, more of a Canadian style, just because I have learned a lot as well as managed bigger desks in Canada and bigger teams, as well as my most recent experience has been in Canada. So that kind of has shaped my thinking, mindset, approach, as well as figuring things out and communicating in a Canadian style more than the Indian style right now, because I'm also targeting Canadians as well as I had Canadian and US clients. So um, everything has to be coming from that. So rather than me adopting a particular style for myself, I would rather let my clients need lead on how I should communicate and what I should offer.
So interesting. Interns. Talking more about the interns. What is the conversations really like? Are you angry at them? Are you like a fatherly figure? Are you providing free food to get them excited? Are you like a kind boss, or are you more like a mentor leader?
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's a great question, and obviously, I don't want to, I don't want to like create a false or a real impression of my work style. It has to come from someone who's worked with me. But basically, when I was working, I used to look up to a leadership style which was called servant leadership, where I'm here to serve my employees or people and team that I work with. And to serve them, I figure out, hey, what's your goal? What is it that you want, and how I can help you and collaborate with you. And that's the same work style that I bring to the table with my interns as well. And how that comes to life basically is that, hey, my I say that what you want to work on as a project, here are all the open features and projects that we are working on. What is interesting for you? They would choose that. Once they choose something which is obviously a stretch for them, then I would guide them, set them up, hand hold in the beginning for at least a week or two on how to do this, how to review this, what is the way to debug the code, how to interact and prompt the AI to get the right output, test it, and so on and so forth. So the various steps, which are all very technical and therefore take a lot of time. And once we have that, then they also figure out that, hey, they are now able to solve problems, they are able to build new features, they have, now the skills to do something which they thought would be a far-fetched thing, but in 2 weeks they have learned all of that, and they get super excited as well as wanting to work even more, right? Because I think motivation is not, let's say, giving them something of monetary value per, per se, in a way, but also giving them a value as developing them as a person, giving them a lot of new skills, arming them with new information, tools, how to use them, build something. And that really is what I see with my interns, that once they get surprised that, hey, we are able to do this now, they just, continue and want to do even more.
So interesting. Okay, servant leadership. I'm literally I've looked it up. Servant leadership is a philosophy where the leader's primary goal is to serve their team, prioritizing employee well-being, personal growth, and empowerment over personal authority. It was coined by Robert K. Greenleaf in 1970. It flips the traditional pyramid. Leaders exist to remove obstacles and support their staff. You're removing obstacles. There are hurdles in the way, and you are running ahead and moving the hurdles.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And how do you know which hurdles to remove and how? How do you do that?
um So a lot of it comes down to communication, especially in a remote setting. So you try and figure out like, hey, what is it that you currently are good at? What is the thing that you want to learn and develop on? And then whatever is the new thing, you will definitely face hurdles as you go along in that journey. And if I know something, then I teach you, show you, obviously like record screen and send you, or record meetings and walk you through different things on how I work. This is how I would, want you to learn from. So it's mainly hand holding, at least in my current setting that I'm working with interns on. But in a bigger setting, when I was working, like removing hurdles would be like, hey, access to information, getting visibility in front of senior leadership in a corporate setting, or achieving some sort of coaching and having access to trainings, which are maybe, managerial training if you're not in the managerial level, or having exposure to certain projects which, let's say, you were not having. So it's all about like figuring things out on what would it take to achieve a goal, and then kind of making that happen in your way by removing obstacles or creating a path forward for that.
You did Mazel Tov. Congratulations. Incredible. I mentorship. You are mentoring others. Have others mentored you?
Oh, definitely. I think like mentoring is such a big thing, right? Like if you want to learn something new, and if you don't know what to do, how to start, and where to, really arm yourself with the right information, then mentors definitely help a lot. And I'm blessed to have a lot of like good mentors who have guided me, as well as told me certain nuggets. Like, for example, when you start a business, you don't know how much you will earn and where the next salary will come from. And like, one of my mentors told me like, hey, even if you make one third of your regular salary, I think that's fine for you the first year or whatever it is. So that gives you mental peace that, hey, I'm not chasing the same number that I had, but like a very different goal and target.
Are you happier doing what you're doing today, Rishi, versus when you worked in like a large, when you worked other roles? Are you happier today?
I was happy in both the settings, but I feel like I have more freedom. I can do things which I want to do for my clients with more flexibility. So there is less structure but more freedom in my current work. But I wouldn't say that workplace settings that I have worked in were unhappy in any ways, right? Like they used to be a lot of things that I was able to have a voice, chase projects. But again, like there are things that I had to do, and here I can chart out my day on what I need to do, which client, how, and then build it, right? So that gives me more control than what I had in a career which is a traditional career, and which I think is a true comparison, right? Like if you're working for someone, then the
Yes.
control is not in your hands, versus working with for your own business, you have more control.
But now that you're in the seat of control, don't you want to control others just as you have been controlled?
You need to set goals and targets, but then control can come, or control can be managed in such a way that you give all the freedom to people to figure out things, and then if they're getting off course, then you bring them back, versus like giving them actual, like, hey, this is exactly how I want things. This is what you should do. I will not accept anything out of those, deviations, and so on and so forth. So there are, let's say, levels of control when you which you can define and also get people to adhere to. So given I like more independent thought and figuring things out in my way, I also try and kind of urge people that I work with to, bring that kind of sense of ownership and independent work, rather than, let's say, giving them an extremely structured document and process to follow.
So interesting. And so interesting. And you like having high school students as interns. You it makes you happy during the day?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like, they bring such a fresh perspective. They are like sponges. They absorb so much and also like learn so quickly. And I think like when I first started working with high school students, I was under the impression like, hey, I might need to handhold more, or, do more things in terms of onboarding, but they are as quick as a, let's say, experienced employee, right? So I don't think so. There is much of a difference in the um, level of learning for a high school student versus an experienced employee. Experienced employee obviously has done it more time, so they'll be slightly faster. But now with AI, a lot of that gap has shrunk.
Fascinating, fascinating. And what tool do you use, or what methods do you use to find these perfect high school students that fit into the righteousness of your steward leadership model and your beautiful work that you're doing?
I go by, let's say, my hiring principles that I used to also focus on when I was hiring for my team in big corporate setup, and that all came from Procter and Gamble when I was, let's say, recruiting or going to universities to, let's say, hire students and interview them. So there are three principles that I follow. So first is I'll tell the principles and then explain them a bit more. So leadership, and I'll tell you what that means and bring it to life. Second is analytical skills, and then third is people and communication skills. So these are the three, let's say, skills that I look forward to or I understand from people I'm recruiting, and I kind of prove them with questions on their past behavior on how they have demonstrated each of these skills. And then based on the answers of the people, I then figure out like, hey, how much and what all have you shown in the past that would enable you to kind of come and run with it. Very briefly explaining each of these skills. So leadership skill is basically if you are in a unstructured environment, how would you figure things out? What would you do? How would you take ownership? How have you demonstrated leadership of taking ownership in the past and finishing a task? And that is basically, let's say, in a work setting leadership. Then analytical skills is when you have a lot of data, a lot of competing theories and analysis and information in different formats. How do you package it up? How do you figure out what are the steps in thinking that you take to figure out all of this into a clear approach where there is no lack of data. And then third is people and communication skills. So communication is obviously as you are asking questions, you figure out from people how they communicate, what kind of you know uh, team settings have they worked in, have they really obviously like as young people they might not have managed teams, but like how do they manage peers, how do they work in a group setting, how would they approach a problem, especially when there is conflict, which happens in a group or a team setting. And then what are the ways that they basically arrive at a solution? Is it collaborative? Is it holding their own stance? Is it also giving in a stance very easily? Or, how do you root yourself when you manage other people, which is a very tough skill anyway. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fascinating. I'm just absorbing what you're saying, and so much to servant leadership. Just learning about it. There's so much listening, empathy, healing, awareness, persuasion, conceptualization, foresight, stewardship, commitment to the growth of people and building community. There's like 10 core principles. Whoa, stewardship, viewing the role as a caretaker of the organization's resources and people. Viewing it, um, this is like the complete opposite of all the. It's so different philosophy. My brain is hurting. My brain is hurting. You like this. This works. This really works. You're
yeah.
you're happy. You never yell. You never raise your voice.
Um, I haven't yelled many times, I would say, in a work setting, just because like it doesn't really help. But yeah, like in full honesty, like it is not something that you would want to do in a work setting for sure.
And even at a ownership founder level, never yelling, never hurting anyone's feelings, always showing respect for people's time, roles honor. There's like a this is like a bushido. There is like a code of honor here. The is this secretly something you learned in India?
I learned it from one of my, let's say, past bosses, so he did it very well. But it doesn't mean not having conflict or difference of opinion, or even like, let's say, getting, I wouldn't say angry, but passionate about something. Because if you don't bring your full self to the, conversation or table, then you're not doing justice. And also not like serving and saying yes when, things are going sideways or not like right on the right path. So you still have to have a balance so that you are kind of, achieving the goals that you are setting out to do. So there is an organizational goal as well as a personal goal for the employee. So it has to be a more balanced approach from that respect.
Yeah, yeah. I'm taking this in. I'm literally thinking about taking this in, responding to your pod right now. You're talking to me. You're not on other screens. You're not in the middle of. You've learned how to focus yourself on exactly what you're doing 100% of the time, and then delegate, share, distribute the work to the right people in the right time, letting you focus on the podcast.
Yes,
Interesting.
definitely.
Woo! And okay, this is okay. In the last minute we have, please, um, what other wisdom could you share in this your mantra, if you will? Your
No big wisdom, but I feel like, everyone should embrace AI and figure out what it means to automate their own work, like by themselves, or get help to automate and figure out, because there is a huge opportunity to just reduce busy work and be more efficient with AI.
amazing. It's so great getting an update on what you're doing, and uh, it's been over a month. It's been almost 2 months,
Yeah.
and it'll be great to see where you're at. How fast you're moving. I wonder if you'll even take the call in 30 days, 60 days. I will have to leave the ball in your court. We'll see how big the ball gets, and a pleasure. We will pause here. Rishi, always a pleasure. Excellent.